there, man. Give me a break.
Wide open. The hell are you doing?
Come on, John. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Let's go! Woo! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Oh my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump on Vince McMahon has happened at WrestleMania 23.
Let's go, Brandon.
My name is
Just a huge show. Oh, here's Day Day. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Now Day Day's joining us.
Where's Gavin?
Gavin's probably asleep.
Daddy got that FaceTime and he said, "Oh, it's time to go."
Did he even answer your FaceTime?
No, he did not. He's thinking, what's this long-haired hillbilly want?
Day Day's still eating that smoky dog we got for free last night. We should have snuck a couple more out of that pan.
If I'd have known they were smoky dogs, I would have.
Yeah. So they were giving out when we were leaving Thompson Bowling last night. There was a guy standing at the door and he was like, "Y'all want a hot dog?" And like everybody was walking up. He had a huge tray or pan of them, just handing them out left and right. I ate it on the way home. It was pretty good.
If I'd have had a drink, I probably would have, but I didn't.
Yeah, I had a Dr. Pepper in the truck that I drank about a quarter of on the way to the arena and left it in there for after the game.
That was smart.
Ain't my first game, Day Day. I can't pay for food in the arena. I just can't.
I ate before. I just drank all my drink.
I will get a drink every now and then in there, like a Petro's tea or something.
I got to tell you about my Nashville hot chicken experience that we had in Dallas. It was East Dallas where we were at.
I'm still sweating.
So we get to Nissan Stadium, Cowboy Stadium East, basically is what it's known now. And Harb said, "Hey, you get some drinks. I'm gonna get us some food. We'll meet back in the middle." A little Diamond Rio song action there. And Harb goes and gets hot chicken, and let me tell you, boy, it was like Satan himself had crawled into my jaw. I literally had to drown this stuff in ranch to get it down. I ate both pieces. My God, my lips. On the way home, I told Harb, "I'm gonna have to stop and get some Tums." So I got some Tums and whole milk. I chugged that thing like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
See, I like hot food. I like hot food, but that's dying. I like hot food, but that's not enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
Well, I love Nashville hot chicken. So good.
So I get up here to the concession stand, and there's only like 3 things on the board, and 2 of them say hot chicken, and the other one wasn't even chicken. So I was like, hell, that's all they got. So I get 2 orders of hot chicken and 2 pieces, white bread, fries. Don't come with ranch or nothing. Go to receipts. I'm like, hell, it can't be this hot. They're selling it to the general public. I take a bite into it, and son, like I can do pretty good.
I can too, but it was like something that I felt like I should sign a waiver for.
Dude. So
I'm gonna have to tell my doctor about this at my next physical, just in case something shows up on the radar.
So for about 5 minutes, we're trying to raw dog this first chicken tender, this hot chicken tender with no ranch. And I can see the look in his face and mine, like there's too much pride to make the walk of shame go get some ranch. And I looked at him and I said, hell, I can't do it no more. Like I literally had a mixed drink. I had like a whiskey and Sprite or something. And I was literally just biting the ice out of it just to survive. Like it was miserable.
That's crazy. I mean, I like hot chicken, but that sounds like it's miserable.
It
No.
was. And like the guy next to us, he was like, "Is that hot?" And I'm like, "Bullshit." Like he goes and gets some, comes back, and he takes like 3 bites, and like the first couple of bites ain't bad, but it's where it's on your lips, and your lips keep touching, and like the heat. It was awful.
Well, if your nose was stopped up, it ain't anymore
No.
after eating that. Speaking of food, I've got an update on my food tab from the Orange Bowl, Miami.
Don't you
Harbin
dare
said,
lie to us.
"No, I'm not. I've totaled it up. I've got an Excel sheet right here. I had to look it up. I had to look it up today because I didn't keep receipts. So I went on my credit card statement and was looking them up. So I totaled them up here so I wouldn't forget. This is unofficial because I feel like I've left something off, but I've went
I'll
through
let you
it
know
2 or
if you
3
did.
times. But
There's a trick.
I mean, it still wouldn't matter.
I can maybe
Griff-
let him know if he forgot something.
Griff was there. I mean, he can vouch for this. Right now, my total is at $182.38.
I don't believe that.
Does that count all chocolate milk you bought?
So you had to
Yes.
drive down. That counts road trip snacks. That counts beer. That counts restaurant food. That counts everything.
Yes.
He didn't drink any chocolate milk.
I'm keeping this show PG rated.
So
I'm gonna have to go to video review.
I bought chocolate milk for the group at the Publix. So add another 65 to that. Still well under 400 bucks.
You bought. Wait a minute. When did you buy chocolate milk in public?
We're talking about beer, bud.
Yeah. That's code. That's what we call it.
You didn't spend that much on chocolate milk.
At the
There's no
Publix, I
way.
did. Remember, I bought those 2 cases of it. I walked through the line and got it
The way
for
I
the
budget,
tailgate.
We had
Wait.
4 cases. We had 4 cases given to us.
True, but we bought the other 2. That we
Where are
took
y'all
with
finding
us.
all this chocolate milk is the question. I didn't know there's that many brown cows in Florida.
It wasn't May.
You gotta
It
work
wasn't
for
May.
it.
It wasn't Mayfield. So, so still here. Let me add it in here. I'll give you the exact total. 247.38,
right.
and that included
So when I first said
meal.
that about 100,
That included Griff and I eating at Coconuts on on Saturday. That included eating at what was that place called we ate on Friday? There it was right on the beach.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. And then the rest of it was just like little knickknacks the whole week. I mean, we'd never sat down and ate like other meals besides like Burger King or
Yeah.
Bojangles or would we stop at a racetrack in Georgia on the way home? And
Yeah.
Griff got pizza and I got a hot dog.
right.
And this is
So,
counting the $24 hot dog and Diet Pepsi I got in Hard Rock Stadium. I didn't even want a Diet Pepsi. I just wanted a regular soda. And I said, they don't have Dr. Pepper. They don't have Coca-Cola. They have Pepsi. So I said, I'll take a Pepsi. I go sit down and take a big gulp of it, and it's Diet Pepsi. And then I look back and the line's like 20 people long. I might forget it. Fitz and Tantrums playing their halftime show. I'm eating the hot
Golly,
dogs. It was bad. I could hear it outside.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
didn't even stay and watch that. I could hear it. It was awful.
The only reason I knew who they were was because they play that song on Quick Pitch, the MLB highlight show on MLB Network. That's the only reason I knew who those guys were or whatever they were.
I had no idea who they were.
I didn't know who they were when they started playing. When I was sitting out there and then that song came on, I can make your hands clap or something like that. So I'm out
That's
of the
the
loop on that one.
That's the PG version.
Yeah. I made up my own version while I was sitting there listening to it. But yeah, that included the $24 hot dog and lame Diet Pepsi. I hate diet drinks. On top of that, I hate Pepsi. But
Well, I can tell you that my budget for the Titans game with Harb, I I think I spent more than you in Nashville than you spent going to.
Well, I'm just
That's
looking
true.
at it. I'm looking
That's
at it
true.
here. Like, we stopped and ate breakfast at Bojangles, and then I went up. Griff had to go get him a dip at the Pilot, and I got a donut for the road. I had something to drink in the car already, and then we stopped somewhere, and I spent $1.59 on something. I can't remember what that was. Oh, I bought another drink when we were driving that day.
I think I
but
spent
this little
I spent $120 before we ever made it to Nissan Stadium
Jesus, God
from
Almighty.
Broadway.
Jeez.
Oh, y'all went to Broadway. See, we never really went anywhere besides eating dinner. Like, we just hung out at
We
the
didn't get in
hotel.
we didn't get there till late on
Right.
Thursday. So
Well, I guess
We
I
will.
was thinking that when I first said that $400, I was thinking breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I agree.
That's why I said 400. I didn't realize y'all were going to be back Saturday evening.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Griff and I flew Southwest, and we were one of the like 55,000 flights. I'm being facetious. There was over at one point like 13 or 14,000 flights canceled. Griff and I's flight from Atlanta, we were flying from Atlanta to Fort Lauderdale. Our flights from Atlanta to Fort Lauderdale on Thursday evening were canceled. We couldn't find a flight through Southwest to rebook. We looked through other airlines. It was going to be anywhere from like, what was it, Griff? $1,500, $2,000 just for a one-way ticket.
yeah.
So our flight coming back wasn't canceled. So we had to rent a car from Knoxville to Fort Lauderdale. The car I rented in Fort Lauderdale had a no
Add that to the
cancellation
food.
policy.
Food cost.
That's separate. It all piles together. So you're right. So we get to Fort Lauderdale at what, 11:30, something like that, Thursday night, because we sat in
but
traffic
not
and
late. Yeah.
it was late.
12:30 midnight. Yeah.
Dropped that car off, went and picked up the other car that we drove for 2 days. When the trip was over and we had to fly back, dropped that car off at Fort Lauderdale, went to the airport, flew to Atlanta, rented another car, and drove from Atlanta to Knoxville. And then I had to drive back the next day to McGee Tyson Airport to drop it off. So thanks to the failing Southwest Airlines, instead of just driving to Atlanta, flying up, down, flying back, driving home, it turned into a 15-plus hour car ride to Miami. The things we do for the volunteers.
I'm glad they won for you, boys. I was really hoping that I remember what it was like coming back from Columbia. Couldn't imagine driving 15 hours back from Miami.
Yeah, we were. I kept telling Griff when we were down there, I was like, I do not want to drive back. Like this, our flight has to happen. Like it has to happen. Like we can't do this. Like it was miserable going down.
I mean, it was so late that you can check your flight status 24 hours in advance. So when that clock hit 12:01 midnight, I checked it, and it was on time, and we were thinking, heck.
But in Southwest defense, they are giving us our money back, and they might pay for the rental car. So we'll see.
Get your money back.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are doing that.
Yeah, you can either get it in a future fare, or cash.
Better be giving me my cash.
Cash back, baby.
I have no idea when I'm going to fly next. It may not even be next year. So why would I let that money sit there and let them sit on it?
You shouldn't.
So the Orange Bowl, Griff and I were there. Great seats, great state. Hard Rock Stadium's cool. Formerly Joe Robbie Stadium, home of the Marlins and the Dolphins, or former home of the Marlins. They won a World Series there back in 97, I think. So it doesn't look anything like it did back then. But what'd y'all think about it? Y'all were here watching it on the tube. We'll start with Harbin. What'd you think about it, Harb?
So I was at work through probably the first half of the first quarter, so I didn't really get to catch the very beginning of the game. We had the sound on, so I was kind of listening to it. So I didn't get to see, like, the big play I didn't get to see was the fake field goal with Dabo Jr. There's a reason that they went to fake that field goal, because they ain't got a damn kicker on the roster. So watched the first half. I was at work, and then at halftime, I drove over to listen to Brett Stanton's house, and I gotta apologize to Brett, and I gotta apologize to everybody out there, because before it, and I'll spin zone it to say that it was a reverse jinx. I felt like Clemson was going to win, so go ahead, stone me, whatever you need to do. But honestly, we just kind of dug our heels in the ground and whooped some tail. Defense played absolute lights out. Shout out to Byron Young and Aaron Beasley. Aaron Beasley had an absolute monster of a game when you look at his numbers and the film. And Joe Milton impressed the hell out of me. I mean, he didn't have 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, but he hit the short throws, he hit the medium throws, and hit the long throws. We didn't have to play hero ball. He hit the throws he was supposed to. I think he went like 19 to 26 or 18 to 25, something like that. 250, 260. Played well. We had that poor Klubnik boy running for his life. It was just refreshing to see us finish off the season on a high note, get 11 wins, first time since 01, I believe. Yeah, it was fun. It kind of built momentum heading into 2023.
Big Montana, what do you think?
Clemson had a kicker. He actually tied the school record that night with the field goal. He just absolutely shit the bed and missed 3. I do think Dabo knew that field goals weren't going to do it in that game, and I think that's why he wanted to score first, have some momentum, but it didn't work. I think Beasley was your MVP of the game. He was all over the place. Not to take anything from Joe Milton, but I honestly think the defense won that game for us. I think I read a stat where Clemson ran 62 plays on our side of the 50 and only got 14 points out of the deal. That's tremendous.
Yeah, I think they were they have one of the, I think they're second or third in the country in red zone scoring, and they were in the red zone 8 times and did not score 7 of those times.
Exactly. And then I don't want to say we had them on the ropes, but we had them right where we wanted them the whole game, it seemed like. It was nice to see Milton throw the long ball and connect. I think he only had maybe 2 passes that he overthrew the entire game. He had some on a rope, some through coverage. I mean, it looked really, really good.
He did a little bit of
there at the beginning. They're like in the first half, kind of. I think we got a little bit stagnant. Lots of 3 and outs, but I don't know. Clemson's defense is extremely good. Like, don't take anything away from Clemson. Their defense is what kept them with the record they had this year. To be honest with you, because Ukulele, whatever his damn name was, I mean, he had a terrible season, and for some reason, Dabo didn't put this guy in until the ACC championship. But Tennessee looked great, 11 wins. I think that needs to be what our goal is every year going forward. 10, 11 wins, 12 wins, Natty's, SEC championship games. I think we proved that we're here. I love how Heupel said that the best days of UT are ahead of us. That just tells me he's got some more tricks up his sleeve, lots of more guys coming in. But I think it's just fantastic in year 2 that he's done what he could do. So looking back on the other games in the season, don't really take anything away from UT from losing to Georgia. South Carolina, I feel like that was just a big fumble for us. We should have won that game, but sometimes you lose games, and what do you do after you lose them, you got to get back up and keep playing, and we did. So awesome, Orange Bowl champs, baby.
Day, I saw you last night. We chatted a little bit about it, but what did you think about the game? Watching from Morristown.
Morristown. Oh, Morristown.
Old
I had no
Motown.
expectations going into the game. One, I mean, you're starting a new quarterback. Two, you don't have two very talented wide receivers. They also didn't have a couple of guys that were important to them. I thought that offense looked like they had a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterback playing for a little bit. Couldn't find rhythm. Started to find it. I was super, like, the throws, awesome. I was more impressed with Milton checking out of certain plays and getting us lined up into something else that changed things. I mean, like that slant to Keaton over the middle, and then you hit Keaton for the bomb right after it. I mean, but he changed that play like twice before we got into the slant on third down. I thought, this sounds like I'm complaining, but I thought the refs, after I watched the game again, they slowed us down. And I mean, that's why Heupel got his penalty, is they wasn't setting the ball quickly. And I mean, I guess there's no rule that says they have to, but if our guys are set, get out of the way, because that does, yeah. I mean, it messes up the flow of our offense. Our offense is, let's go fast. And when we got to go fast, we scored in 1 minute and 20 something seconds. But the 3 and outs, I mean, they'll get that cleaned up next year when they're repping this every day. And Milton's the one. It may not be Milton. Nico may be the next man. Who knows? But they got to get continuity with the new OC, which is probably going to be the QB coach. I don't even remember his name. But why wouldn't you just go ahead and slide him up? I'm not going to question any hire he makes. Look at the wide receiver coach, off winner. So, and he was a nobody. Half of us probably didn't even know who he was before then. Awesome year. Couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, I guess a natty, but that wasn't in our thought process at year 2. I mean, we were begging for 10 games at the beginning of the pod. That's the best we can do, even counting a bowl, and boom, 11.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I think all of us either picked 8, 9, or 10, counting a bowl. So
unfortunately, I picked us to lose to South Carolina.
You did.
So
I need to eat a little crow, because I think it was in the third quarter at some point. I texted you all and said Milton ain't the guy, because he was getting sacked. He was missing throws.
He didn't look like it.
And I think that was right when I sent that was right after he bounced that one at, I don't know if it was Fant or Keaton's feet on a third down, threw a slant, bounced it into the ground.
Keaton, yeah.
But then after that, man, he was on the money. He was 19 of 28, 251, 3 touchdowns. I went back and watched the game when I got home, and over the past couple of days, watched it before I had to go back to work. And some of the sacks he took, I felt like watching it, because my YouTube recorded that Skycam version. It recorded all of them. So I was watching the Skycam version. There's 2 or 3 sacks that he took that if he would have thrown the football, it was either going to be intercepted or batted away. And who knows what happens when that happens. So I thought his decision-making was fairly good. 4 sacks is too many, but, it didn't really matter. They converted a third down after one of those, but I thought he played really well. There's some things he could clean up, but he plays like that next year, they're going to be fine. They'll be able to win games and
you got to think
anybody.
He's going to take QB1 or 2-a-days, spring practice, all this other stuff. So I mean, he wasn't doing that last year. I mean, I know he came in and played in the fourth quarter in several games, but he's going to have a lot of reps between now and August, whatever, next year.
Mm-hmm.
Griff, you were there. We said
I think we're going to be just fine with Joe.
Yeah, no, I think we will. Griff and I sat in section 314, upper deck. Really good view. I'll put some pictures in here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see what our view was. But we dominated the stadium. I think you can say, Griff. There was very few Clemson fans there at all.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I knew that we'd have the upper hand on the fans, but it was a wider margin than I pictured it to be. I mean, they had a small section over by the band, and then they were scattered throughout. But
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it was 80-20 Tennessee fans.
I think it might be more. Just being honest, I think it's more like 90-10.
Well, you got to think it's little old Clemson, and the past 4 or 5 years they've been in playoff, and so this was a down year for them. I mean, you got to think if Tennessee had been the playoff picture the last 5 years, and this year we got a chance to go to the Cotton Bowl, would you guys have still went?
No, and I think Tennessee.
That's the thing.
Tennessee went through that too. We went back to the Fiesta Bowl in '99, and I don't think we traveled very well to that game to play Nebraska. I mean, I don't know who all went, how many went to like the Cotton Bowl in 2000, the Citrus Bowl in 2001. Yeah. I remember going to the Peach Bowl in 2002 against Maryland, and there wasn't many people there. I remember going to the Peach Bowl in 2003 against Clemson, and it was full, but it was dominated by Clemson fans. It was like a reversal of the game. Yeah. And it was really close for them. I mean, they're coming from Clemson to Atlanta. That's an hour and a half drive. But, yeah, Tennessee fans dominated South Florida. It wasn't full. There was seats open, but for the majority of the stadium was Tennessee orange, not that Clemson red. So, what do you think about the stadium, Griff?
Man,
you got it in your background for those listening. Griff's new background is Hard Rock Stadium.
Still there. Great stadium. I mean, the weather was nice. I don't know if I pictured the inside to be I mean, I knew it was going to be a nice stadium, but the inside was a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. And I don't know if just because being down there in Miami and just small NFL stadiums, but no, it was a nice stadium. The outside of it was nice, plenty of parking.
It was
obviously where it's located is great.
Yeah, it's pretty much it's got an opening in the middle, but it's pretty much a dome for the most part. Every seat's covered except the middle of the field's not. Not as small as old Cowboy Stadium was, so God could see through. But this one's a little bit wider, but yeah, they redid that stadium a few years ago, so it was I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, agree.
Looking ahead to next year, do you think Tennessee can, and anybody can answer this, do you think Tennessee can duplicate this? Will they take a little bit of a step back, or, will they take a step forward?
I think we might. I think we can duplicate it. I think we might take a very minor step back, just because we have. I think our schedule next year. I mean, our schedule is always going to be hard, but I think it might be a little bit tougher. Bam on the road and things of that nature. But I am very excited for the Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, Ramel Keaton, triple-headed monster with Joe. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be dynamic. I think it's going to, for the most part, replicate what we did this season. And as of today, we're recording on Wednesday. Jacob Warren's coming back. So it's a much needed hole to go. He's coming in from UC Davis, but
Castles.
Yeah. Partners alongside with him. I don't see any reason why bare minimum 9-3 is not on the table. I mean, you got Georgia at home, you got Bama on the road, and then after this season, you can't count any game as a win. We saw that in Columbia. 4 out of the 5 of us were down there. But I think if we play the way we can every bit duplicate what we did this year. Surely can. Which win in the ball game helps with morale going into the next season a lot, obviously. But I truly think that's the case, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that next year, I heard something today. You know, we lose a lot, but what we have coming back, they can fill those needs pretty well. See how Milton progresses. He played really well in the Orange Bowl. Like Nate said, there was, you know, I really do think there was probably only a few passes that he missed that were just in that slant. The guy was open. He just threw it about 2 feet too low, hit him in the foot with it. But his deep ball was on target. His slants were freaking missiles that I don't know how Brute McCoy caught that ball two-handed above his head and held on to it. That dude was strong. Same thing with Squirrel White. Squirrel's going to come in. You saw what he can do. I mean, he's fast. He's athletic. He's going to kind of fill that void of the Hyatt. He'll kind of fill the role of Hyatt, I think, because Hyatt wasn't very big, but he was fast and he can run. Keaton's going to do what he can do. I can see Keaton being the Tillman because they're same body build, strong looking guys. And then Brew McCoy is Brew McCoy, and he's going to come back and he's going to be a dog out there. He's our Juwan Jennings of this year and next. Running backs, we don't lose. Linebackers, you lose Banks, but Beasley's coming back. You get that BYU transfer. I mean, we got holes that we're losing, but I really do think we're filling them with guys just as capable. So I can definitely see us being on the same track as we were this year.
Day, you and I talked about this last night. Does Jalen Wright transfer?
As of now, no.
I did see something on that today, though.
It's looking good to stay. I just read it. And not only the person that, you know, I flutter some stuff here and there, but Austin Price said it too. So that's two people saying the exact same thing. They have no contact with each other. So that's good to hear. But I mean, if he leaves, you're gonna go get somebody. At the end of the day, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's fun to watch, but he misses the quick step. He's got the speed, but prime example in that game against Clemson, I mean, all he has to do is have a Jabari Small foot in the ground moment, and he's to the house, and we don't see a slant to Squirrel because all he had to do was beat the safety. Instead, he kind of danced on the sideline, and that's why he got tackled. But good player.
They gotta find a way to get Sampson.
There's your best back. There's your best back.
They gotta get that kid some more touches.
I was kind of worried about him on the transfer. He played in the Orange Bowl.
The reason he didn't play is because he can't pass protect, and you saw what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude, he's really bad at pass protection, and he should be. He's a freshman. What freshman is? I mean, he got Hooker absolutely killed at LSU.
Yeah, Philip Fulmer wouldn't play Jamal Lewis early on because of pass protection.
Yeah. And I mean, when you don't have a backup QB, because we didn't in that game, you're going to take that has spotty protection? Probably not. I think they made the right move there.
The success of go ahead.
Okay. Repeatable next year? Sure. I'm looking at the schedule. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better start to our year. We got Virginia. Not very good, but Power 5. Austin Peay. Then you go to the Gators. Hard to win there. It's very winnable. Then you get the Roadrunners, which is kind of scary because it's after Gators, but you're at home. You're playing well at home. Then you get the Gamecocks. You know that's a revenge game, and it's going to be, I'm giving you everything. Then you get off. Then you get the Aggies coming in. Bama's going to be, I think that's an auto loss right now, but that's just right now. Wildcats, Huskies, Missouri, Bulldogs, man, you got 10 wins possible again, just looking at a schedule. And Bulldogs being the last game of the year, that's kind of nice. I like that. Sloppy down the stretch, and they're not going to have whatever they have this year, even though they're going to reload. But QB play will be different for them.
Yep.
He saved them a couple times this year, but it's doable. They could do it again.
Harb, do you think the Vols can duplicate? Or did I already talk to you? I can't remember. We've been talking for so long about
Yeah,
this.
you
Did I
already
already
talked
ask
to
you?
me.
All right, let's go to Big
you already talked
Montana.
to me, but the answer is yes.
Sorry, I went to the wrong bearded person, which we all have. We all have beards of some sort on here.
Semi beard.
Young Hank Jr. over here. Harbin. Big Montana. What's your thoughts on the 2023 Volunteers?
I think the success of the 2023 Volunteers lies within the defense. If they can get 10 to 20% better,
that's what we said last year too, and they did.
I think they did. And what happened? We went from 7 games to 11. So the defense, man, I just want people to come into Neyland Stadium, or even when we go there, I want them to be terrified of getting hurt. I want them to be terrified of getting concussions. I want them to be terrified because we're going to beat the living piss out of them. I want to hit every quarterback like we hit Pittsburgh's quarterback in the first half this year. I want it to be a demolition. I want the 1980s Miami Hurricane. I want it to be a party. The offense is there. It ain't going nowhere. It's running wild, 50, 60 points a game, no matter who we're playing. The defense has to show up. And we're going to have to hit the portal, and we're going to have to bring guys in, but it has to get done.
God.
Now, I don't know if old buddy did enough against Clemson to keep his job, or if it's already been decided. I'm curious to see what happens. Great against Clemson. Now, Clemson's offense has struggled all year long. So I don't know if that's more the case, or if they just got fired up and ate their Wheaties, or what. But, the whole stuff this year with South Carolina with, little middle school bullshit, feelings getting hurt, that stuff's got to be gone. Like, it has to be a one mind. This is what we're going to do. We're going to win every game. Don't care if it's Bama. Don't care if it's Texas A&M. Don't care if it's Georgia. We're going to beat the piss out of it. And that starts in the defensive room. Always.
So
it's a war. Let's go.
So we had 2 today announced. This is Wednesday, January 4th, and I'll talk about the significance of that date here later on. But we had 2 Walker Merrill, wide receiver. He's entered the portal. Reserve offensive lineman, RJ Perry. Never heard of him. He entered the portal. I think yesterday there was another offensive lineman. Am I correct on that entered the portal? But that's good because that frees up more room for the transfer portal, which I'm sure there's still some holes they want to fill, and there's still some guys out there who either haven't entered the portal yet or still in it that we could possibly target. Defensive tackle out of Kentucky has entered the portal, who was a finalist for Tennessee a few years ago, I think into the Pruitt era. He's back in the portal. So, that might be an option. I saw several linebackers today that had entered the portal. So after these bowl games are finally over, there's more and more entering the portal. So I don't think Tennessee's necessarily done. I think they filled a lot of their holes.
Yeah.
Getting Warren back was big at tight end to go along with the kid from UC Davis that's coming in. And I think we've got a 4-star tight end freshman coming in. So, I think he's finally – this is his second full recruiting class, so he's able to finally start – his guys are – not that there was anything wrong with the guys he had. According to SEC picks, though, he's running out of Pruitt's guys, Day. So –
and that was enough oxygen wasted.
Yes.
On SEC picks.
Oh my gosh,
but yeah,
Thornton, Oregon
yes.
receiver.
Yes.
Bring him.
But he's finally, this is where you'll start to see his footprint or his handprints all over the program. And I say he is Josh Heupel, because now it's all right. The guys he recruited are sophomores now. Some of them may be just becoming freshmen, but he's starting to get his guys in here, building up a little bit of depth finally. But we've been walking a fine line. I mean, you think at running back last year, we didn't know about Sampson coming in. He proved to be okay later in the year, but it was basically just Small and Wright. What if one or both of those guys go down? What do we do? I mean, we have no depth there. Now we're going to have some depth at that position.
Small apparently was playing with a very significant injury.
Yeah, enough to have surgery or something done. He had a sling on today. We're going to have depth at tight end. We're going to have depth, which it may be young depth, but depth at wide receiver, depth at defensive line, offensive line. I think the big question mark is what will the depth look like at defensive back and linebacker? Yeah, that's the big.
Well, we have a lot of young talent coming in. It's just, can they get up to speed quickly?
Well, they're going to have to play.
They're going to see the field. They're going to see the field. There's no question about that.
Wide receiver
made that a priority.
Matter
but
if they're running wide open, boys.
If Slaughter, yeah, I ain't worried about what we could have.
I ain't worried about wide receiver.
Us out there, wide receiver. Not really, but
I'm just worried about. I was worried this year about injuries at those positions, but it showed that when Tillman and Hyatt went down, I mean, in the bowl game, did you notice that they weren't even out there? I didn't.
It didn't look like much of a drop off.
I'm looking at the schedule here next year, and if my math is right, we're playing 8 bowl teams next year. Florida, UT San Antonio, South Carolina, Alabama, Kentucky, UConn, Missouri, and Georgia. So not an easy schedule by any means. You've got your automatic wins, Vandy. I'm assuming UConn would be an automatic win. We should be heavily favored in that game, even though they went to a bowl game. I would assume we would be double-digit favorites against San Antonio. Obviously Austin Peay, probably Virginia.
You left out the biggest automatic win on there.
Florida?
No,
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. Well, I hadn't got to him yet.
Yeah. We ain't worried about them bastards up north.
No, and I don't care who they bring in at quarterback. They're not, if they couldn't get it done with potential number 1 draft pick Will Levis, this was supposed to be their most hyped year ever. They were going to compete for the East. They were going to go to a New Year's 6 game. And I know Levis didn't play, but they got a goose egg in the Music City Bowl against a 6-win Iowa team. Back to the mines. And I read this thing today. Matt Jones tweeted about the UK collectives need to pick up the pace and they don't have the big donors. And somebody tweeted like, well, why don't we have elite donors like everybody else? It's like, because you're in the coal mines. That's why. That's exactly why. You're Kentucky. Get a grip and wake up and come to reality.
Hey, I've just got one question. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine being a Kentucky fan? I can't. But anyways,
I don't know what the line's gonna be, but I got a feeling that South Carolina game is gonna be like the Kentucky game was this year.
Oh, it's circled twice.
It is going to be a bloodbath.
The game I want next year is, and there was a game I wanted this year was Florida at home. I want Florida in Gainesville. We haven't won down there since 2003.
Heck, when's the last time we beat them back-to-back years, let alone one down there?
Yeah.
We haven't beat them back-to-back. I don't remember when.
What I like about
elementary school.
Yeah, what I like about playing them third game, they're still breaking in that QB who isn't that great anyway. I mean, he's a turnover machine. So, and you saw the trouble they had stopping our offense this year.
It's just nice to see Tennessee with finally some stability. And you got teams like Florida, just, God, they were awful looking in their bowl game. And they're going to have a lot of turnover. South Carolina, I mean, they're trending up a little bit, but I mean, are they any?
They're right
going
here.
They're going to be any
at
better
their
than 7 or 8 wins? I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Texas A&M has got a lot of stuff going on. They got Petrino's coming in as offensive coordinator. If he can stay off his motorcycle.
If you got Petrino as your OC DJ Durkin as your D.
Yeah.
You're throwing your Hail Mary is what you're doing.
They're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying. I mean, but you got, Kentucky starting over pretty much. Alabama's going to be starting a new quarterback. Missouri's got their quarterback coming back, but they were just 500
They are
this
what they
year.
are.
Georgia's going to be starting a new quarterback. We don't know they're obviously going to be pretty talented. We don't know what they're going to be like, but Tennessee's one of the most stable programs in the conference right now, and it's been 15 years since we can say that.
Wow.
Longer than that.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So a lot to look forward to. I think we'll talk a lot more Tennessee as we head into spring practice here in several weeks. It won't be long. They'll start late February, early March. But signing period, the regular signing period will be early February, and then they'll move on to start working on spring practice, get that sorted out. And this is going to be a lot to look forward to because good recruiting class coming in, a lot of hype with some of these guys coming in. So next year's going to be one of those years again, I think, where, this year I thought 8 or 9 wins was pretty good. I think next year that's got to be the floor probably from here on out. Like
Real
Big Montana
expectations
said.
next year. There's real ones.
Yeah.
Like this
It's
year
not-
we were all hoping. Next year
Expecting.
we get.
I mean, this
is
was
what
like
it's got to be.
This is like a magical ride this year. Next year, it's like, hey, we need to go in here and win these games, take care of business, and do what we're supposed to do.
By the way, I feel like we're kind of wrapping this segment up. So while we're still on the college football train, Big Montana, I just wanted to say that I had a great college football gambling bowl season. So if you ever need help next year in the pick'ems, especially down the stretch when it matters, call me. I'd be more than glad to help.
Buddy, I bet you that in all, I won more money than you did coming in third place.
I heavily doubt it. I'll just
We'll have
word
to
it that
compare.
way.
We'll have to
because
compare receipts.
Listen. I picked up a Triple H sledgehammer with both hands, about like this, and I picked it up right here, and I held on with all my strength, and I put all my body weight into it, and I dropped it down on the TCU Hypnotoads, and they delivered.
I picked TCU also.
Good. I'm glad.
There you go.
I'm glad, and I also did it on Ohio State, and they covered.
I picked Ohio State too, and they covered.
Good
But
for you.
listen, a man of faith like myself, I gotta stay away from the gambling stuff. So I gotta stay on straight and narrow.
I'm telling you, the Pick'em group that we do,
There was
that
a
my
bit of
uncle-
faith as well, but I still like a little bit of fun every once in a while.
the Pick'em group that we do, that my uncle puts together with all those guys over in South Carolina and literally all over the country. I like it more than college football itself, to be honest. I mean, it's awesome. You pick 12 games a week against the spread. It's $100 to enter. Great value. I mean, seriously, I sucked at it. I'm normally in the top 10, 15. There's like 50 something in the group. Struggled toward the end of the year this year, but bowl pick'em, I started out it was awful, and I've picked it back up a little bit, but I won't finish last, thank goodness. But I struggled early on. But these New Year's 6 games really helped me out. But no, it's fun. I have a blast doing it.
Harb. The only thing I gotta say is that I've spent more money in spilt liquor. I won't say about it.
On bars from one side of this world than you made this week.
Yes, sir.
While we're on the topic, I'm so far in on TCU, it's not even funny. Maybe it's blind. I have dropped a larger than comfortable margin on TCU to cover 12.5 in the national championship game.
Is that what it is? 12.5?
Yep, that's what it is. I grabbed it at that today. I believe yesterday was 13.5, so that don't make me feel any better about
I think it gets
But
to 9.
I'm all in. I'm all in on TCU to cover
Nice.
12.5.
I think on our pick sheet, it's 13.5 Georgia, and it's
Well,
locked.
it was
I think it
13.5
gets to 9.
yesterday, but it's dropped by 1 point. But
Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
I still hammered it. I think
Not that my pick matters, but my early thoughts are with the Bulldogs. I think they're going to come out madder than heck, because they did not play And they've not been playing, recently. They have not played well defensively, and that may continue. I don't know. But Ohio State did LSU moved up and down the field on them. I know it was late, but Georgia's not, besides the game against us, well, I guess Georgia Tech, but they've not played well defensively lately. And Kirby Smart said that after the game.
If it hadn't been for that white boy getting his hand down and getting that first down, Ohio State being Natty right now.
Well, the play of the game was Kirby Smart calling a timeout on the fake punt. If they get that, game's over, which I think he may have been granted it after the ball was snapped. That's a different conversation for a different day. But at the end of the day, he got the call, and that was play of the game. They get that first down game over Ohio State's playing TCU on Monday.
What'd you think? Ohio State had 12 men on the field on that.
Yeah.
On that fake punt.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wash.
Didn't
TCU outright.
I hope so, man. I'm rooting for them. Heck yeah.
I also sprinkled just a teeny weeny amount on TCU money line. Yep, sure did. I'm all in. I talked a lot of shit about Max Duggan in the second half of the season, and I'll eat my crow. Dude's an absolute gamer. I don't think he has immensely talented, but the sumbitch wins ball games, and I'm gonna ride.
Max Duggan.
Like I swear, I think I've bet on him about five or six times this year. About 4 of those were emotional hedges from when Tennessee needed TCU to lose. But I won money on him every time I bet on him, so I'm gonna ride this train until it falls off.
Harb, did you sprinkle on TCU like Salt Bay?
Dude, I am so glad you said that because there's a couple guys at the bar today, and one of them is hanging on to a TCU national championship future bet from like September that is and he is all in on TCU. He's Tennessee fan, but he sprinkled it.
What made him look at TCU and pick them to win the national title? Like, I don't.
If you met the guy, you wouldn't ask questions.
Okay.
He's a wildcat. He's an interesting fellow. Love the guy. But I went out back and I hammered him on the spread and sprinkled him on money line. I walked up to him and I literally hit him like that. I said, I'll take a little bit right there and put it on TCU for you.
So
back and hammer him. I get it.
So speaking of taking care of business, we're going to transition here to basketball. The Vols, since we've recorded last, we took last week off. Hard-fought game at Ole Miss, 63-59 winners, had to come from, 10-12 down early in the game. And then absolutely demolished last night Mississippi State at Thompson Bowling Arena for their 24th win in a row at home. It was never – by the time I was late getting there, by the time I got to Day seats, I said, do you want me to go stand back down there? Because they were up 16-0. And then they proceeded to score like 2 points for the next 4 or 5 minutes. But Mississippi State threw the freaking kitchen sink at them there in the first half. They started out in man. They went to 2-3. They went to a 1-3-1. Then they came out in the second half, did a 1-3-1 trapping press. Nothing worked. I mean, Tennessee couldn't miss. They didn't turn the basketball over. They played great defense. They were efficient offensively. If Tennessee plays like that.
Shot 69%.
Nice. If they play like that all year, guys, I'm telling you, and I've got something I'll share here in a minute from the analytics side. They can go to the Final Four. I'm not saying they will. This is a Final Four national championship. And I've been saying this for 2 or 3 weeks now, maybe longer, but they are a legit contender for the national championship.
We have been.
So I'll share this because the Ole Miss game was last Wednesday at 5:30. What a weird
Stupid
start time. I don't know what you all were. I was off last week, so I didn't have to worry about rushing home from work to watch it. But that was like watching a junior pro game at different points. But we knew it was going to be like that. Ole Miss plays kind of a grinded out, rougher style, and Tennessee plays their defense oriented, not offensive oriented. But so I found I did a little research. Now this is off of KenPom. So I just did the last 10 national champions, where they ranked overall in KenPom, where they ranked in adjusted offense, where they ranked in adjusted defense. So the average ranking overall of the last 10 national champions, now this is entering the tournament, this isn't afterwards, is 3.1. Average adjusted offense, 7.4. And average adjusted defense is 10th. So that was their average ranking entering the NCAA tournament. Tennessee currently is ranked second. Now we got a long way to go, so this is going to move around. But right now, Tennessee's ranked second. Adjusted offense 38th. Adjusted defense number 1. The lowest adjusted offense to win a national title the last 10 years was UConn in 2014. They ranked 39th. So Tennessee's right there. But they were overall ranked 15th coming into the tournament. And I don't remember what seed they were. They weren't a low seed, but
They were like
weren't one.
8.
Yeah, I can't remember. They were they were like middle, something like that. Offensively that year they were 10th. So they were really good offensively.
Wait,
I think it's 2014.
2014?
Yeah, that was Kemba Walker, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
Or was that
Walker.
after him? I can't remember.
No, that was their last natty.
Yeah, I think he was the one before it. So that was an outlier there. Outliers defensively, like Baylor in 2021, they ranked 22nd. Kansas was 17th last year. But everybody else is top 11 defensively that won the national title. You got Kentucky was second and 7th, second offensively, 7th defensively. Louisville was 7th offensively, 1st defensively. I mean, looking at that, you've almost got to be top 10 to 15 in both categories. Right now, Tennessee's not. Can they get there? Yes. If they continue to play like they did last night, continue to improve, because they've been hovering around 40th offensively for most of the year. They've actually were around 50th early on. So they've improved slightly. I don't know how much they can improve over the next 2 months.
UConn was 7th.
Okay, they were a 7 seed. Wow.
7
I mean,
seed.
I think Tennessee is analytically wise. They need to get a little bit better offensively, more consistent. But, looking at these numbers, that's not out of the ordinary for a team with their rankings offensively, defensively, and overall to win a national title.
Their offense is going to get better. It's going to get better because of, if James continues to play, our offense will be better.
Yes.
I agree with that. I was about to chime in and say that if he can come in, stay healthy, play valuable minutes, especially in SEC play, of making a deep run increase exponentially.
And Barnes said that last night. When they went zone early on, he had Triple J and Vescovi in there, and he said those guys just see the floor better than everybody else, and they just bring a calmness, and they're able to, work through things where some of the younger guys, maybe like a Julian Phillips, who struggled early on, who I hope comes around. I think he will, but
he played pretty good last night.
He played well. I mean, everybody, Euros played well last night.
True. Everybody played well.
Everybody played like they were just clicking on all cylinders last night. But if they play like that the remainder of the year, I mean, just looking at their schedule, and I said this last time we recorded, they got South Carolina this weekend. They're not good. They're one of the worst in the conference. Then you got Vandy next Tuesday. You're playing the 2 worst teams in the conference the next 2 games. Then you've got Kentucky next Saturday at home. Then you go to Mississippi State and LSU. So 2 tough games there. So, but Tennessee has a chance before that Texas game to be about 6 or 7-0 in the conference. And if they play like they did last night, they will be. There's no way they lose these games if they play like that.
Yeah. But
it's like I told the Hoops Southbound podcast tweeted me and said what was my thoughts on the game, Mississippi State game, before it happened. And I said, if the Vols stay out of these long scoring droughts, they're going to be tough to beat whoever they play. It doesn't matter who they play. And I mean, you saw it last night. If they shoot the basketball, pass the basketball like that, they're going to be good. I mean, Mississippi State's one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Fun. They had 9 defensive rebounds last night. I'm pretty sure. That's because Tennessee didn't miss. I mean, we shot 69%.
Well, I'm sitting here watching Missouri, Arkansas, and I mean, they're good teams, but we're a tier above them.
Our defense.
Alabama's the one that worries me the most. I mean, they seem to be in the top tier.
Yeah, Arkansas is dealing with some injury issues right now, so they're
okay.
Not
I didn't know that.
Well, they're not as threatening as they were at the start of the year. They're still good though, but they lost the one guy to an ACL, and somebody else has been out, so they're kind of limping around right now. But I mean, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama are your 3 best in the conference right now, and then you've got like your Kentuckys and your Auburn, and after that, it's a free for all. I think. Georgia's better this year, supposedly. I don't know who they played.
They beat Auburn tonight.
Wow. See, I hadn't even seen any games tonight, so that's. And this conference is tough.
Who won the Kentucky game last night?
Kentucky.
Kentucky did. Okay.
They held on. It was
by 3 or something like that.
They won by 3. It was a 1-possession game most of the game. I mean, LSU hung right there with them. So, I mean, we got some tough games coming up, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, Tennessee plays the way they're supposed to. We're going to be just fine this year. And I think I'm not worried about the SEC tournament. We won that last year. If we win it, great. If not, oh well. We just got to set ourselves up for the big dance and make a run this year. Everything's set up for us to do it. It was set up last year, too, and we pissed it away. But this team has all the tools, all the weapons, and the makeup, and the analytics say we can go to the Final Four.
I agree. The one thing I disagree with you, though, the SEC championship or the SEC tournament, I think going back-to-back SEC champs would be absolutely monumental.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I want to do it.
In a long time.
No, I mean, I give you saying, like, I mean, I'm not going to go jump off Henley Street if we lose in the semifinals, but I mean, as it sits right now, it's us and Bama, like Day said. We make it through that, get a 2 seed, get out of the first damn weekend of March Madness. Yeah, let's roll. But I mean, we got to worry about getting out of that first weekend of March Madness. I hate to sound like Big Montana, but it's,
Big Montana.
Big
Big Montana sending us text with 2nd round Rick in it as we're talking about this. I ain't worried about that right now. We gotta get through the season.
It is what it is.
Tennessee's gonna have a lot of pressure on them when they get in the NCAA tournament later on. If they're a high seed,
listen, boys, I'm rooting for them. I want to be more wrong than I've ever been in my life, but I haven't seen it, so.
I want to be.
Let's be honest. We were all wrong about Heupel, so let's go ahead and be wrong about 2nd round Rick, right?
I want to be. I
picked 10 games this year. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want to be
saying Heupel in general, not necessarily this year.
I want to be in Houston in early April.
That'd be dope.
At NRG Stadium for the Final Four.
And you want to book plane? You want to book plane tickets and actually get to ride the plane?
Don't book Southwest.
Maybe I should save my fare money and just
Delta
hold on
or
to
bust.
it. I will say Delta is better, but they're way more expensive.
There's a reason they're more expensive.
Hey,
they're reliable.
I've flown Southwest twice and never had this kind of problem. I know they had some issues.
Some issues.
It was bad. It was really bad. I mean, you see videos from the airport and luggage piled up everywhere. They had a complete meltdown in their system. But the last 2 times I've flown with them, it's been fantastic. No wait, no delays, cancellation. The plane was great. Everything was great. I mean, coming back, Griff, it was great.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, it was fun.
They had a meltdown there for about a week or so there when the weather came through, and they effed it up. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts around it. They effed it up, but I think Tennessee take care of business these next 2 games. You'll be 4-0 heading into with the Wildcats coming to town next Saturday. I don't know what time that game is.
12.
Speaking of Southwest and East, did you see where they're giving everybody whose flights got canceled 25,000 points?
Really? So we're gonna get 25,000 points.
I got an email for it today.
I haven't gotten an email yet. So
you're not getting them. Griff got yours.
Griff got my points. I'll let it. He can have them. That's okay. I just want my money back.
That's all I want.
I mean, the points are nice. I don't know how many points you have to get to equal out to something. I don't travel enough to know.
I think they were saying that it basically equals out to like it is what the email. I just kind of grazed over a little bit, but yeah, it kind of equals out to that.
Oh, I did get an email from CEO Bob Jordan. I'll have to look into that one. I'm glad you said that. I hadn't checked my email in a while.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, Southwest trying to save face. They got the money. They can take care of it.
They do.
I'll take the points, but I still want my money back.
Yeah, I want my money back and the points and my rental car paid for.
Yes.
Dang it.
The rental car from Atlanta to Knoxville is what that cost about as much as everything else.
Yeah, that wasn't cheap. They fleeced us on that one. But it's either that or walk. So there's no more. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no more megabus from Atlanta to Knoxville. So it was either walk or drive. And my cousin Reagan refused to drive to Atlanta and then drive Griff and I home. So
she failed us.
Shame on her. Shame on Reagan. Sad. Tennessee baseball coming in ranked 5th. I saw Perfect Game has them ranked 2nd to start the year.
Yep.
These guys Day and I were talking about it walking back to the car last night. Could be another big season for the Diamond Vols and Tony.
They should continue where they should not let up. They should just keep rolling. I mean, they lost some, but they still got 2 stud pitchers. They got Maui in that shortstop. Yeah, 3 studs. I mean, who's the third one I'm thinking of though?
Our weekend starters are all All-Americans.
Bean. I forgot about Bean. Yeah, 3. I mean, yeah, we should just be reloaded and ready to go.
The whole weekend rotation is all preseason All-Americans. I mean, it's crazy how much talent they got.
Man, it's like I said a few weeks ago. I don't remember exactly when I said it, but I think we're gonna have comparable talent, like maybe just a minor step down, and we're gonna have the red ass from losing in the Super Regionals, and we're gonna come out with that same cockiness, that same swagger, and we're gonna give the red ass treatment to a lot of folks, and I think that's gonna carry over into early summer, into a deep run. I really do. No, I think it should. I think it should. We have too much damn talent to not,
Yes.
Tennessee baseball has to stay disciplined. They can have fun and do all that crap, but Tony Vitello has to stay disciplined. He don't need to be chest bumping nobody. Our players don't need to be running first base, flipping people off, and we don't need to be getting thrown out of the damn batter's box in the damn world in the postseason play.
That was BS.
You can't give them a reason if you're going to talk and do all that. You can't give them a reason.
I said this a couple of weeks ago. I want them to flip birds running first. Yeah. Just back it up.
We're good enough to back it up, so I'm totally fine with it.
I mean, I do it in the stadium all the time.
Remember when we talked about Euros in Arizona?
Yes.
Back it up. Yeah.
I do like
baseball teams. I want to play
them again.
So I'm all for it.
We'll see, but Euros has the last 2 games woed it back quite a bit. I think Barnes had to sit him down, and Barnes pretty much said this, that he sat him down and talked to him like we want you to be like that, but you gotta be picky about it. You can't do that all. He's making it hard on himself.
Going too far is what hurting the team.
Yeah, he's making it hard on himself and the team because of what he's doing. Like Tennessee baseball wasn't making it hard on themselves. They were hitting a home run in big spots and flipping you off in center field because somebody else said something to him. no different than Josiah Jordan James last night, hitting a 3 right in front of Mississippi State's bench and turning around and throwing
Looking
up
at that
3
bench.
at him. I mean, don't run your mouth and you won't get it run back to you. But they just need Uros. And I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but Uros needs to pick his time and place better. And I think they all, BT baseball could do that too, which I think they do for the most part, but they normally back it up. Uros isn't really a guy that, I mean, what can he do to back it up? He played okay last night, but seriously, he's good grief. All right. That's the Day-Day's wanting to go to bed. So that's this week's show. We're going to try to start recording this on Sunday night. So we'll probably have a quick turnaround this week on shows. So Sunday nights, we're going to start recording. Remember, you can find us wherever you get podcasts. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You can find us anywhere. Just Google us and it'll pop up. Harbin, you had your finger up.
Doing this, but closing thoughts. Hope all of you had Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, safe New Year with all your friends and family. Prayers up to DeMar Hamlin, full recovery. Praying for it. Heard a little bit of an update today. Hope all that goes well. Everybody stay safe. Listen, share with your friends. I love each and every one of you, except for like 2 of you.
Yeah. I shunned 2 people last year, so I hope I don't have to shun anymore. But that's this week's show. Appreciate it. Everybody listening. For Griff, Harb, Day-Day, Big Montana, this is NegativeNease. We'll see you guys next week on the Section YY8 podcast.